All right, welcome back, guys. Today, what we're going to talk about is artifacts, specifically artifact management. Artifact grinding and farming is, in my opinion, the least fun farming in the game. It's just kind of miserable because you have to roll rare artifacts because the ranges are so high. A good rare artifact can be better than a hero artifact you'll ever see and better than some legendary artifacts. Unlike runes, where the ranges don't justify rolling them, you kind of have to roll some rare ones. So you end up having to roll a whole bunch of things. There's an insane amount of combinations of lines, and it's hard to keep track of it all, and you might end up throwing away something that would be really, really good for one specific situation in the game where you really need it, but everywhere else you don't need it. So I really don't enjoy farming artifacts, even though it's probably the best area to farm to improve your account because, as far as I've seen, there's no way you can buy artifacts. So every artifact everyone has, you, me, SWC, everybody, they farm those artifacts or gotten them from an event. They have not bought them. They're not pay to win. They're farm to win. So it stinks. You're in this conundrum of, I gotta farm them, I gotta roll them, and then I gotta remember all the different ways they can work out. So like looking at this current set, like look at this light artifact. First of all, light and dark, pretty garbage because, you know, if you only care about RTA, which I do, a lot of people do, only RTA artifacts matter. You can get some good PvE artifacts, that sort of thing, but only RTA artifacts matter. So what do I do with this thing? Defense proportional lost HP. Damage dealt on dark, that's probably pretty good. Damage dealt by attacking together, trash. I can't think of a single use for it. And HP when revived, also trash. So let's roll it. We're looking for quad damage dealt on dark. And even then, it's probably a PvE artifact, unless you have a specific dark monster that you use to snipe out light monsters in RTA. So we already rolled once into HP when revived. And we'll probably know if this is trash or not right away. And by right away, I mean roll 2. If it can go +6. This is part of the fun of artifacts. There we go. So what we got, damage dealt by attacking together. So this legendary artifact, they don't drop often. What am I going to use this on? Nothing. And what's sad is that it could still roll double max damage dealt on dark and be useful. So you got to keep rolling to +9, even though you've now turned a legendary rune into a rare rune, or a rare artifact, which is sort of sad. All right, let's look at what else I got. Light, damage received from water. Is there a situation where you want a light monster to receive less from water? Probably, but is it worth rolling? No, not on light. I don't think so. Damage dealt on dark. Okay, damage dealt by attack. Probably worth rolling, right? Because it could roll double the damage dealt by attack and be +12, or it could roll double damage dealt on dark and be pretty good. Crit damage received. I like these. I don't think they're great, but I like rolling them because it feels useful. Damage dealt by HP is pretty good. Hey, we got another legendary. Fire. Okay, let's roll this one. And then after we roll this one, we're going to go and look at how I manage farming artifacts, because that's kind of the point of this video. They're not a very fun farm. Oh, look, we rolled damage received from water. This is a pretty good artifact, actually. All 4 lines have some sort of use, and it could be a tanky artifact. It could be a more aggressive artifact, depending on how it rolls. Defense increasing effect, so damage received from water and defense increasing effect. You don't see that a lot on fire monsters, but in like PvE where you have more control, there's just no real use for defense increasing effect in RTA currently. You get it occasionally from Tyrannus. Single target is pretty good. So this one might be okay, but what do I do with this? What is this combination of damage received from water, defensive increasing effect, and single target crit damage? How does that all work in the grand scheme, and how do I rank it compared to similar artifacts that might have completely different stats? There are just so many lines. So here's what I've done. This is my little chart. You know, I like charts. I've made this chart that helps me keep track of what the heck is going on with artifacts. So you can see here, I've got water, fire, wind, light, dark up in this area here. I don't know if, can you see me? I know you can't see me. I'm indicating, but you can't see it. Then on the other side, I've got attack, HP, support, defense. And then I've got the lines I'm looking for the most. So this is water against strong elements. So fire against strong element, wind against strong element. So this is my wind against strong element. So this is wind against water. I have a +12%. In my fire, I have a +13% against wind. Then we go received from weak element is what that means. I wish I could indicate, but I don't think I can. So the next little area there is received from weak element. So I have a couple of good ones. I have a -21% damage from wind. That's a water artifact. I have a minus 20% damage from water. That's a fire artifact. And then you can see it goes down the line. 15%, 12, 11 in water. Fire, 14. And then I stop keeping track. And so the whole point of this is that after the point I feel comfortable keeping track, which is usually about 3 or 4, then I know I can just sell all those artifacts. Because what are the odds I'm going to need 5 in RTA artifacts of the same type? Very, very low, right? I mean, you don't run that many of each element even. That's an arbitrary cutoff on my part that I think is useful. But, everybody can decide on their own if you want to make something similar to this. I'll also try to link a version of this you can make a copy of if you're interested in keeping track of your artifacts this way. It just, to me, helps streamline the process of farming artifacts. Like, I don't even farm artifacts when I'm not at home with this thing in front of me because it just makes the decision making easy. I can refer to the chart and I can add them into the chart right when I pull one and roll it. Like looking at, let's look at my water lines. I've got HP additional damage, and that's 0.8, 0.7, 0.5, 0.4. Whereas in light, see it's the 11, that's a 1.1. So that's really pretty good for HP-based additional damage. Attack-based additional damage, defense-based additional damage, speed, which is really, really important. You can see I've got at least one artifact over 100 in every category except the dark. And then crit damage on single target is one that I have a really good on dark. I have 2 over 12, which is great for Han. Yay. And then crit damage received is another line I've got in here. If you go over to the other side, attack, HP, support, defense, you can kind of tell what you need to farm, which I think is another challenge of artifact farming. Like, what do I do? The attack, HP, support, defense category, if you look at it, it's got way more things you need to farm. Like, in the water, fire, wind, light, dark, you've only got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 things that I consider worth farming. Strength up, or against strong element versus weak element, those 8. But in the other artifacts, you've got everything that the water, fire, wind artifacts have minus against strong and against weak. And then you add in all 3 crit damages, all 3 accuracies, and all 3 recoveries. I've got bomb on there too. I haven't quite figured that out, but I'm thinking about adding bomb in because I only need like 1. And that way I'll know what my best bomb artifact is. The red is lines that don't matter, so I have said that recovery on 1 doesn't matter for anyone. That's not 100% true. I still have it in there, but in general it doesn't matter. And then on attack, recovery on 1, 2, 3 doesn't matter. But you can really tell what you need to farm. So looking at my additional damage based on speed, I don't have a single attack or HP artifact that has over 100% additional damage based on speed. Whereas in the normal elements, I have 1 or sometimes more than 1 of each one. So I need to farm over here to get one of those above 100%. I have 105 for support and 120 for defense, but it's not really super helpful. And then you go down to crit damage. I've got a crit damage 3, a 22, and a 22 on attack. But then on support, it's a 12, 10, 11. Maybe not as useful on support, but there's going to be some monster you're going to want it. So I need to farm that a little bit more because a 12 is 1 roll, literally 1 roll, 1 max roll into a starting max roll. That's green artifacts? I don't even know if that's a thing. So it's really, really bad. So we got to do better. I need to farm more. And also, I think if you find yourself farming artifacts and you're keeping a lot of them because they're beating your previous bests, you just need to farm more artifacts in general. Like, I still find myself keeping a decent number of rares that roll well. That means my overall artifact pool is pretty poor. In runes, I don't keep any rares. I don't keep most heroes, and then legends only if they roll well. Artifacts, I'm not even close to there. A good rare roll could be my best artifact in a bunch of different slots. So that's a big problem. Like, look at my support-based HP additional damage, 0.2. What? Like, why do I even have it on there? It's just not even a starting roll. So that's really, really bad. Defense, same thing, 0.5. That's not even a starting roll. So this is kind of how I manage artifacts. I would be really curious how other people do it, because if you don't have a system, I don't know how you manage, because there's some artifacts where it's like 70% additional damage from speed, which is not enough to keep, but then it's also like 6% additional damage from attack, which is also not good enough to keep, but the two of them together, I think, makes a combined artifact that's usable, And so I don't even have that tracked. I don't even know how to track that. So I just sort of keep those, and they get lost in the shuffle of my artifact storage. I don't even keep track of them because it's just too much. So that's how I do it. I hope it's helpful. I'd be really, really curious if anybody has a different method, because I'm completely open to a better system. This is just what I got going on. If there's any other lines that I'm missing that are clearly worth keeping that I don't have on there, please let me know, because I'll fix this. Like, I'm not opposed to change. This is just kind of where I'm at for now. So anyway, good luck farming those artifacts. It's painful, but I think it's necessary. So yeah. All right, guys. I will catch y'all in the next video. Take care, everybody.